Hey, it's Carl here, and today I am starting something really different. I've been in the aquarium hobby since single digits, which was quite a while ago now, and I've literally set up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of aquariums. It's kind of what I do for a living. But one thing I've never ever done is to set up a tank focused on plants. Everything I've always done is about fish. I'm all about the fish. I'm still a fish guy at heart. But I've been watching the YouTube videos and seeing all these planted nature type aquariums, and they've really piqued my interest, and I really want to learn how to do that. And in so learning this, I can help my customers and help introduce them to that part of the hobby as well. So this is kind of a learning experience for me. So if you have more experience than me, I'm definitely interested in your experience. So leave comments below. If you see me doing something wrong or something I should do better, just leave it in the comments below. I want to know about it. But yeah, today I'm going to get started on this 4-gallon aquarium. So it's 10-inch cube or 25 centimeter cube. It's about 4 gallons or 15 liters, I guess that is. So I've already cheated and got the hardscape all figured out. It's just simple, just a couple rocks, and I'm just going to plant around the rocks. I used the box that the tank came in to kind of put some gravel in there and to lay out the rocks. So I have that all figured out. So I'm going to use a base layer. This is a clay-based layer, clay and sphagnum, I think that's what it says that's in it. I'm going to put a little layer of this on the bottom just for fertilization and give something those roots to reach down into. And then I'm going to use the fluval stratum for the gravel, and then I'll just plant right in that. So I'm gonna get started with that now. I think that'll be lots. I'm not gonna put too much in there. You don't want to see this stuff, so you kind of, I'm gonna pull it in from the edges. I'm gonna spread it out a little bit more here. But again, keep it away from the edges because I don't want to see that at the front of the tank. Then I'm going to use the fluval stratum. I'm going to get some of that on the go. You've got to use your curved scissors, of course, right? So that should be enough to get me started. I just want enough to get the rocks in there and get them in place, and then I'm probably going to have to add some more as I go just to give it the layers that I want to give it. But yeah, I do have these rocks already kind of planned out, so I'm going to get them in there now. So there's the basic layout, and I got all the substrate out so you can't see it. I do have a little pocket. I'm going to put some more, I'll put some more substrate in here and then at the back to build it up. I want to hide most of my filtration and stuff in the back here, so I got to get that standing up a bit straighter. So I do want to fill up this back section and bring it up a little bit higher, as well as this little centerpiece here. So I'm actually going to take some filter wool and stuff it back in here to hold that in. So then I can fill out, and then I'll just hide this with some plants or something in front. I'll get some little rock chips and stick it in there and put some plants in front so you won't actually see that, but then I can build it up a lot higher here at the back. So I'm going to fill that up now. So now you can see that I built it up a lot at the back here and then sloped it down into the centerpiece. Now that'll be kind of the focal spot of the tank, this little centerpiece. So I'll have some bunch plants at the back kind of sticking up high. I'd like to have them up high here where you can kind of fill in the back. Where it slopes down into here, the kind of the centerpiece, I'll probably put a different color plant in there. And then this will all be a ground cover at the front. So I've got the hardscape the way I want it, and now I'm kind of ready to plant these things. Now, everyone I've seen on every tutorial, every video I've seen online, they always wet down the soil because apparently it plants better. So I'm just going to spray it down with some water, get it all damp in there, and then we'll start planting. That should do it, I hope. So it's good and damp now, and I'm going to get ready to plant now. One thing with this lockdown that we're dealing with right now is things are pretty hard to get. And I don't have a lot of plants to put several pots in there. I have like 1 or 2 pots of each thing that I want to put in there to put in. So I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to plant Rotella atra. So I'm just going to get it all prepped. So I'm using the 123 Grow cups from Tropica, and this is the Rotella Atra, and you can see how green it is here, and then the picture looks really red. It will end up with some really red orangey tops to it. So I took one pot and split it all up into little chunks, so I'm going to get planting those now. I'm planting them really deep in the soil, just leaving a little bit so they get a good root system growing. For that center section, that highlight section, I'm going to use Pogostemon Helferi, if I'm saying that right. So I'll just show you now how we take it apart and to plant that from the pot. We'll plant out of the pot and then expose, like this is the rock wool that it comes in. Just kind of split that open. You can see all the little plant roots and stuff, and just really carefully you want to kind of pull as much of it out without wrecking the roots. So yeah, so you have all these little plantlets that now I can plant them in the substrate. So I've got one of the little plants here. I'm going to grab with my tweezers and gently tuck it into the soil there. Plant it. Get rid of the junk. There's one. So from up here now you can see the Atra at the back here, and then the Pogostemon down in the centerpiece. And then we put a few more Pogostemon along the front here, and then we'll do the front ground cover. So the next plant I'm going to put in is Cryptocoryne albida brown, and I'm going to use that to kind of hide those spots where I had the filter wool. So I want to hide the filter wool and those cracks with this. This will add a little different color in there as well. I want to tuck all those roots down into the gravel so you don't see it. I'm going to plant beside, just out front a bit. Right back in the crack there. So as they grow, they should kind of fill in this area here, so that'll block the cracks and stuff there. So yeah, I think that's good. Now I'm just going to fill in the front ground cover. Now, the only issue I have with the front ground cover is I want to use the Monte Carlo, and I only have a little bit out of one pot. It kind of melted down. I salvaged some of it, and again, we're having a hard time getting anything right now. So I'm hoping to get plants later this week. So I am going to plant what I have, the couple little pieces that I have now, helps get it started growing. And then later on this week, I will plant the rest, and of course, I'll show you that then. So I'll get those little pieces in now. I'm going to plant it really deep. So that is not a lot of Monte Carlo. There was way less than I thought I had. So I just have this little tiny little patch there growing. I do have some more coming, so I'll get that planted within the next couple of days, and then hopefully get that ground cover started real well, get the other plants going. So next plant I'm going to use is Bucephalandra wavy green. Now this is an epiphyte plant, which means it doesn't really grow in the soil. It'll grow in the cracks of a rock, or you can glue it to some driftwood or something. I'm going to try and stick it in the cracks of the rock, and if it doesn't stick really well, I'm just going to glue them in the cracks. But there's a couple little good cracks in the rock that I think it'll grow well on, so I'm going to, again, it's potted, I'm going to pull apart the rock wool, gently take the plant out, and then stick them in the cracks. I'm going to stick them down in there, and they will eventually just, oh, that worked perfect. It slipped right into the crack. So they'll actually root and adhere right to the rock. Here you go, try it. Oh yeah, that looks, I'll tuck it in this way. That looks way better. Oh yeah. Yeah, I really like the look of that. So I am going to try and plant it low in the crack so that it'll grow up into it. So yeah, I think just like that should do it. So 5 different species of plants planted in the tank now, and I do have to work on that ground cover a bit. That's not going to fill it. It's going to take a long time for that to fill in, so I want to get another pot of that Monte Carlo. But I'm going to get it filled up now, get the CO2 running, get the filter on, and get the lights on. Let's see how it looks. There, I don't want to fill it too full because I still have some stuff to go in there, so I'm going to leave it down about an inch and a bit, and then I will we'll get the CO2 in there and the filter in there, and then we'll top it up. So for a filter, I've just got this little submersible Aquascape filter. I only got it because it was the smallest little power filter I could find. It's super, super tiny, and it has a very adjustable flow. So I'm going to crank it all the way low, which is there, and just get it in the tank. I'm going to tuck it in behind this rock here so you don't really see it. Filter's running, and next up is the CO2. So I'm just going to use this little fluval CO2 kit. It's just made for little tiny tanks like this. It's got a little CO2 cylinder and a regulator. Not going to go into a whole lot of detail on CO2 in this video. I'll do that in another video, but I'll just show you the components of it and I'll get it up and running for you. So there's your CO2 tank, the little tank, and that's your regulator valve. From there the CO2 comes out, and then we have like a one-way valve, a backflow valve, so it can't come back in. So there's your bubble counter. I have it set for 1 bubble every 5 seconds. And then from there it goes over the edge of the tank and down to the diffuser. Now when you first set up a CO2 diffuser like that, you do get big bubbles for the first 24 hours or so, but it'll end up, by tomorrow sometime, it should be a finer mist of bubbles coming out of there, and that's the CO2 bubbles. So there we go, filter's running, CO2 system's all running, and yeah, I'm gonna get the lights on it. Let's see how it looks. So for lights, I didn't have a lot left in the store right now because, again, lockdown. But I have this Aquascape 5-watt LED light. It's kind of nice. It'll just clamp. It has a clamp for these frameless tanks. And it just goes on the edge like that, and you can kind of slide it back and forth. Actually, I'll probably put it on the back. Maybe on the side. We'll try it both ways, but kind of center it over the middle there. So morning day 2, it is all cleared up now, so it's looking much better. I did add a little Anubias in the corner there after hours. The CO2 diffuser is still doing big bubbles, but it says it could take a couple days to turn into the fine mist. But yeah, the ground cover, of course, there's not enough of it yet. We will replant that when it comes. But everything's looking good. Water's cleared up nice. And the stem plants, of course, are going to take a while to get high, but yeah. As of day 2, it's looking good. Tank's been running for 2 weeks now, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. It took me this long to get one more pot of the Monte Carlo. Everything's been out of stock and slow to get in, but with everything going on, it's kind of understandable. But finally got a pot of Monte Carlo, and I got it all planted. So I'll just give you a quick tour of how things are looking now. So we'll start with the bad. Some of the Bucephalandra, it seems to be melting down. This one seems to be doing okay up there, but this one is kind of melting down. But the rootstock seems okay, so I'm going to leave it and see if it won't come back a little bit. The Pogo is doing really well. It's growing all right. And then here you can see where I filled in the ground cover. So this all has to fill in, obviously, but I just got it planted today, so hopefully that fills in nicely. One of the really bright spots is the Litre at the back. The stem plants are really growing well. You can see it down there. It's really nice and bright green, and it's some like that one piece is probably put on 3 inches already. So, but yeah, it's filling in nicely. So far, I'm not unhappy with it. I kind of thought I would see more growth, which could be the product of the CO2 diffuser not giving fine enough bubbles, or maybe just not enough light. And I can change the light, so I'm going to give everything another week or 2, and then I might start changing stuff up. But so far, yeah, it's looking all right. Not a lot of algae problems yet, so it's looking good. Well, we're 5 weeks into this tank build now, and I've had to change some things since that last update. The ground cover was melting down again, and some things just weren't doing well, and I kind of attributed it to not enough light. So the light I picked out, well, it was kind of what I had to work with at the time, but just wasn't bright enough and things weren't doing well. So I switched it out for a Fluval Nano LED system. This thing's great. It can run, you can change the color settings with your phone and turn it on and off with your phone app and stuff. Really great app to play with. But since I put that on, things have really changed. So that ground cover that was melting down is now bright green again, and it seems to be coming back really well. The bucephalandras are hanging in there very well. And the stem plants, the Atra has just gone crazy. It's growing like mad. It's turned bright red. It's really doing awesome. The Pogo's hanging in there. It just seems to be really setting down a lot of roots. You can see the root systems creeping through the gravel. The plant itself hasn't changed much, but I suspect once it has a good root system, I think it'll really come up from there. But yeah, really happy with the way it's going. The CO2 diffuser's diffusing it well now. Lots of fine little bubbles. And overall, really happy with this build. So, well, I'll definitely do an update video in a month or so, and we'll see how the tank has progressed. By then, I'm hoping that this ground cover is filled right in. It should be filling the whole bottom so you don't see any of the gravel anymore. I did put in a couple of mono shrimp and a nearite snail, so they're in there helping clean up some algae. I do intend on putting a few fish, although I haven't decided what they're going to be yet, so you have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, I just hope you've enjoyed this build. Be sure to subscribe, because I have another tank here that I will be doing a video series on and showing you how it's coming along. I have some product reviews coming. I have a glow tank we did. Lots of different video ideas coming up. So be sure you subscribe. So I hope you enjoyed this build, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.